So thank you everybody for being here tonight. We have some exciting things happening. Of course, cosmically, I always like to go a little bit over the library I just downloaded. Oh, that Libby app. That is actually the Libby app. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that, but it's amazing. You can get all your local library books to be downloaded online, and it's a way to just kind of be able to feed your soul. And that's one of the things about when we look at equinoxes versus solstices. I would get them all mixed up, and I would always say, autumn solstice or winter equinox. And for the longest time, I didn't really kind of understand even the whole difference about them. And when we're looking at equinoxes, it's almost as the word says, it's when that time comes where night and day are almost equal, where we have, that 12 hours of darkness, 12 hours of light. And as we get into the solstices, we're getting into the longest days of the year or the shortest days of the year, right? Depending on our seasons. And it's so cool that we're all in different hemispheres here, because we're either going into spring or we're going into fall right now. And that can mean two very different things for people. But the really neat thing is that right now is something that hasn't happened since like 2004, where we had these eclipses. There was in May, there was a partial solar eclipse and a full-on lunar eclipse, which is like opening the bookend of a land of possibilities. And then we have this solstice now that's happening, where it's sort of the other bookend, sort of closing that door of that window of opportunities, where we could really fully see and bring to fruition these things that we were really sort of working for and harvesting this summer. But since 2004, we haven't had two eclipses in a year like this. Like, this was really big and powerful. And I think, in fact, two in 1 year hasn't actually happened fully even longer than that. Like, I think it was like 70 years or something. There's a very unique time about this year and having these two in one exact year. And with Pluto coming kind of close now, we'll be able to see it in the east, where you're going to be able to see this big planet shining. And that hasn't happened that's actually about 70 years too, that Pluto hasn't been this close. So it's like very cyclical. And that kind of brought me into these universal laws. When we decide to play the game of life, when we decide to kind of get out there and have this experience, right? Because some days it's easier to not play, some days it's easier to just put away the game pieces. And this equinox brought that about for me the other day, yesterday. Like, I say the equinox kind of kicked my ass in that I felt vibrations and emotions that I hadn't felt for a long time. And I really had to look at them, because things had come up in my field that were giving me the opportunity to stay comfortable, to stay in a spot where I could have decided, basically to have a whole profession change. And we have these things that come into our field. We get these offers sometimes, and it's like, well, how do I know if it's the right one? How do I know if we're playing this game of life, and we're always kind of wanting to know, well, is this coming in because this is the way it's supposed to be, or is this coming in to test me to see if I'm going to go back to the past, or da 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 da. And this is where our emotional mastery comes into play, because our emotions are truly our sign. They're truly our tool to know if we are on the right track or not, if we're in alignment. And it's not even right track, it's in alignment with our intention. Now, when we don't have our intention very clear, or we're not in tension with our intention, what can happen is we cannot have that drive to be pulling us forward in magnetic alignment. Where I found myself yesterday, like, it was really funny. I'm a really positive person, and I'm really like, I'm listening to enlightening things all day. I was in a space for a little while early yesterday morning where I was like, I put on Facebook for a minute, and it was one of the coaches that's in our group whom I love, and I can't even remember who it was. And she was just talking about how wonderful things were for her. And I was thinking about, ending this whole thing and going on to something else. And it brought me into this vibration where it was like, all of a sudden I felt like, hey, Lisa, welcome back there, Chris. Um,
Hi.
I'm not going to talk about myself too long, but I'll just put you on mute if you don't mind in there, Miss Lisa, so that it doesn't echo back on me. Sorry, thank you. If you guys need to, by all means, you can hop off and ask questions or throw them in the chat, chat me up, communicate with me. I'm telling you this story so that you can probably resonate with. I know a lot of people are sort of going through the same thing, because right now, these next, I think I talked about it last week, these next about 6 weeks coming up are big employment shifts, big career type shifts, big, huge, long-term shifts of people, where in this field, a lot of us have been working towards working with people, making that difference, and if we're just focused on, say, something like making a lot of money, or doing something like this is going to have a different intention than making a real difference for people, making a difference in the world, being that shining light, being that person that is actually going to really make a difference for more than just yourself. For by taking care of yourself, you're seeing the ripple effects, you're seeing the things that you're able to create in life. If you don't have that pulling you forward, you can kind of be like, the minute I gave that up, it was like I was watching something and I was just like, someone was raving about how wonderful life was and all these, and I felt like going, fuck you, Debbie, or whatever your name was. Like, I just felt like going, like, and I never feel that way. I was like, whoa, I was in such a low vibration. But the thing that pulled me back was the fact that I had clients booked all day, and I was really excited about just being in the session, because every session I've had has just been so enlightening and amazing, and I know that's my path. And what I understood was my emotions were telling me, you don't want to go and do this other job. You want to be doing this. And when I almost gave that up, I was grieving it. I was crying over it. It was almost like breaking up in a relationship. And all of a sudden I was like, well, now I'm a single mom. Like, it was like right away I took on this persona of not doing that. And it felt horrible. And that was what made me understand, this is what my emotions are trying to tell me. They're trying to tell me this is what you want. Just get over yourself, like literally understand, believe. And these universal laws, the law of believing, the law of understanding that you are divine one, when we don't have those sort of in our vibration pulling us forward, it's really easy to just kind of give up on the game of life, to just throw in your pieces and just kind of go, you know what? I don't feel like playing. I just feel like going into bed. And so some people have been doing more lying in bed than they've ever done. And I think what I want to say is that this was a needed thing to happen before this equinox comes, before it's to show us this balance. For a lot of us, we've never allowed ourselves to actually just be in that feminine energy that we talked about last week, to just be doing the things that we know we need to be doing. And one of my biggest takeaways from the universal laws is the universal law that changes in basically energy is in like this perpetuating, transmutating, this transmorphing movement. Energy is never still, it's always moving. So when we think about even the fact that you can be in an argument with someone, and all of a sudden, I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but you're literally in an argument with someone and you're talking and you actually forget what you were saying, or you forget what you were mad about, or you forget, like, you kind of fall off track for a minute. That's because of the law of energy changing like that. We get this enlightenment, we change, we shift every moment. So even when you're in a conversation, you have these perceptions that shift because of these universal laws, that it changes on such a big way that your brain can't even keep up. So you literally, like, even if you're to look back on an argument, you're like, I don't even remember why we really stopped talking after. Like, things have evolved, things have changed on an energetic level, so they're not where they were. That emotion is never the same that it was at that one original time. So when we start to understand how these laws work, it enables us to get even more clear on the rules. And when we have a clarity on the rules, it's a heck of a lot easier to win the game, where you're not just playing and just kind of losing all the time, where you actually have that upper hand, where you know the kind of hand that you even want to draw so that you can start manifesting it. So let's get into a little bit about the laws. Now, there's literally like 14, 15 when you kind of do your research on them. And a lot of them are a lot of the same things, where it's that perpetuation of 2 points, that perpetuation of vibration, that perpetuation of energy. So I want to talk about the main ones that will be most pertinent to us, that will help us to understand a little bit clearer on how to just embrace the energy and embrace the teachings and embrace the laws. There's a lot of us that I feel, there's parts of us that don't like following laws. And these laws are, they kind of, we cannot follow them. But the thing is that they can work a whole lot better for us when we actually do. It doesn't mean that we have to follow all of them all the time. But when we can't figure out why things aren't shifting, we can go to these laws for a little bit of guidance, because there's generally a reason for it. So when we think about the first law, is kind of the law of divine oneness. So once we understand, and I think one of the things that we understand is when we can know that there's a source up there, out there, aside from just our physical being, that there is a little something more out there than just us. We are tapping into that law of universal oneness. And that is the ability to understand that energy flows through us, within us, to us, in us. It's got this frequency all of its own. And so understanding that even, once people pass, that they are still they are still energetic souls. They are still around, knowing that you can even connect to them still. There's a lot of people that have lost people in this last year. So there's a lot of grief and loss going around. When we can understand this divine oneness, we can feel the people that have been passed a little bit closer to us. We can feel that connection. We can feel, for some it's prayer, for some it's religion, for some it's connecting to the superconscious, for some it's just understanding that there is more to just us out there. These universal laws start to click in. The law of attraction tends to be sort of the first subsidiary that we end up seeing. And this one is one that we work with pretty much every single day. But I think for a lot of us, it's still a little unclear. It's like, do I need to want it, but not so bad that I'm chasing it? I can't be avoiding it. I can't be. So can I want it? Like, it's very confusing, because we want to follow these laws. We want to allow it to happen. The thing is I feel like about the law of attraction, it's not just about our thoughts, it's about our feelings. Now, when we have these thoughts are like putting a pebble and dropping it in a still water and watching it ripple out. Now, these thoughts will affect other people, but what they will do is create a vibration. They're creating a vibration that is going to attract more of that vibration to us. Birds of a feather, we often hear, people that are in a lower vibration, they will tend to bring around more people that are in lower vibration. When you're in a higher vibration, you tend to be bringing more people like that around you. The same exact thing happens with thoughts. So when we really can understand the fact that if we're really just taking a good old look at it, like black and white, if I'm thinking most of the time, I'm so broke, versus things are getting better, things are going to turn out a whole lot different, right? We're going to see, we're going to feel, we're going to attract more. So to train our brains simply to not have those thoughts of, I'm so broke, like literally to stop it, to turn it around, to go, things are getting better. Things are changing. Things are changing this week. That is a whole other vibration. Once we start actually saying that enough, even if, we're not just blowing smoke up our butts. We're not just saying, oh, things are wonderful, when things aren't. But when we really look at things, there was a time probably when we were maybe saying, gosh, I'm more stuck than I've ever been. That is where you're going to be. And that is likely where you're going to stay if you're staying in that thought. If you're continuing to think those words and to feel those things. And when we don't say it out loud, when we're not, being coached or talking to someone about it, we don't notice a lot of the times those things that we say. So I'm always saying, be very careful of your, what is going through your head, that dialogue, that those words, those stories that are coming out. I find paying attention to my text messages makes a big difference. Someone was asking me today about travel, and I was literally like, I can't even think about travel because I haven't. And she wasn't asking me about the restrictions in Canada. She was just asking me about travel. I was already texting about something that had nothing to do with anything. And I'm like, well, where did that thought come from? I'm just going to erase that. I'm just not even like it. I didn't even let it form a thought. Whereas if I didn't stop, breathe, and respond, and I had just reacted from a place of, maybe not being in a vibration of thinking about travel and expansion and acceptance, literally that first thought was, oof. So I'm being very aware of my vibrations right now and doing a lot of meditating, doing a lot of hiding in rooms and talking to myself, because that's literally what I have to do to talk myself through this big shifting time right now. Like, I wasn't always able to do that. Sometimes we would just wind up in a heap, right? And sometimes that does happen. So I'm really wanting to help you to understand that whole, when we talk about just find things you like and do more of it. The thing is if you're in, even if you can't have those happy thoughts all the time, like things are getting better, everything's unicorns and rainbows, like my husband always says, my life, my world of unicorns and rainbows. And he's now seeing kids dancing with flowers in fields. So I know we're making some improvement in this whole unicorns and rainbows thing, but it becomes a practice, right? If we're literally finding things that we love, we're literally doing things that we love, we're going out and doing that salsa class that we talked about, or taking that art class, or even teaching that art class, or designing an art class, or just looking at, someone had showed me the other day about AI. You can download this app for artificial intelligence, and you can type in words and it'll bring you up an art piece that has those words incorporated, like finding God. All of a sudden it'll bring you up this beautiful image, and it's like breathtaking. It's absolutely beautiful. But it just depends, right, on what it is that you're doing. Are if you just love baking and you haven't baked forever, bake something for someone and go bring it to them. Do the things that make you happy. And I love about an equinox is preparing food is a really beneficial thing to do with love. You know how grandma makes that apple pie and it just tastes so good, and you could stand there and make the exact same one right next to her and it would turn out totally different. It's the love that goes into it. It's the energy that goes into it. That's why some cooks are just so good, because they love what they're doing, right? Preparing a meal for someone, doing things like this are so healing, and such a beautiful way to play with the universal laws, by that whole giving, that whole um law of polarity. So absolutely beautiful ways to just kind of tap into the whole equinox energy with these laws of attraction. So of course, when you love something, just do more of it, right? It's going to open up your third eye. It's going to open up your crown chakra. It's going to allow you to see more of what you like. It's going to allow you to bring more of what you like. And it's literally emitting this vibration, attracting more of that to you. If we're not doing those things, we're just not opening ourselves up to that law. So why not allow the laws to provide, right? We often stop that on our own. And that brings me to the law of vibration, or the law of frequency. Now, the law of frequency is something that you can almost manipulate a little bit easier than you can the law of attraction. But they're almost one in the same, as that what you are attracting is that pebble that you're dropping. That vibration is what's happening from that pebble. So we have to be very careful of that pebble. Is that pebble that we're dropping into the ether, into the collective energy, is that actually a big heavy rock that's just going to sort of sink and not go as far? Or is it going to be this beautiful rock that's dropped with love, that's just emanating still, beyond ponds and streams? And we can see how far that would go just with some intention, right? The law of vibration can be altered in states by doing fun things like the essential oils, or music, or dancing. It kind of, we can sort of shift it and change it with external sources. The law of attraction, it's often coming from inside of us. It's the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions. The law of vibration versus frequency, we can actually raise them, we can lower them, we can tune to them. The singing bowls, you think of all these things, even as far as a woman singing, opera, that note that will shatter glass. Vibrations affect like this, and that is just a sound affecting matter, smashing glass. Like, think about that just on an energetic level. It is powerful stuff. So think of what a vibration like that could do for our body. And again, think about that that experiment that I've talked about before with Dr. Yamamoto that does the energy into the water droplets, and then you look at them, or and they've experimented with energy into plants, telling a plant they love it versus telling a plant they hate it, and see how they grow. Like it's no nonsense. Look at children who are given love versus not. When a child is told that they weren't even ever wanted, are they going to be the ones that are 15 and likely on every drug they can find because they don't want to feel anything? Or are they, like this is big stuff. It's and we're in control of these vibrations and these energies that are going through our body every single day, which is why it's so important to stay intentional in managing those emotions and knowing, if pain in your body is coming up, it's coming up to tell us something. If an emotion is coming up, if we are not feeling well or good about something, there's definitely a reason. It's not just this something that happens. An emotion doesn't just fall from the sky and slam us. It's this definitely came from somewhere. And when we really listen to them, when we really take that time to pay attention to what they're saying, rather than just kind of push it down, it can be just profound. This is when the floodgates just open, right? So that law of perpetual transmutation of energy that I was talking about, where we literally don't die, we just change form. Have you ever heard the one thing we can always count on is change, right? That really is the one thing that does happen consistently every second. In fact, everything has already shifted. The things that you now understand just from the words that I said have shifted realities, have shifted worlds, have shifted timelines just by doing that, just by exploring these opportunities. So I always think about when you're in an argument with someone and you really like totally forget. I remember that happening a lot when I was younger, where you would literally just kind of forget why you were even mad, especially with a boyfriend or something like that. And it's interesting how um, those actual conversations can shift and change just as you're having them. You don't even know why you were mad anymore, and you can't. Or they're like, well, when did I say that? Well, you've already shifted that. It's not even in your field anymore. It's not that it never happened. It's that your actual perception of it has shifted, because there's what actually happened and then there's your perception of it depending on what happened and the energy exchange around that. So it's quite interesting. Even as their energy shifts, your energy shifts. Sometimes you're not even mad anymore, but you're in the argument, so you're just going to finish it off with something stupid, and then things go a whole other way, right? So imagine just being sort of observant of that law of perpetual shift and motion, and understanding how that can really work with us. um, Law of relativity. Okay, so we have our perceptions, we have how we think things are going to be. Basically, this is all about adapting, meeting 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 that energy where it's at. So when we look at, we're starting to get into the relativity, the rhythm of things. When we start to look at hot to cold, right? This the whole polarity, this whole relativity feeling. What happens is we start to understand that there's 2 points. There's 2 points of energy, kind of like that. Um, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear, did it make a sound? Well, maybe to birds it made a sound, but it's not going to be the same as the sound that we would have heard if there's no one there observing it, if there's no one there to actually take that vibration, because of course it would have made a sound when it fell, as far as what it, when it hit the ground, what it hit, all of the cells around that, there's all the microbiomes, there's all the amoebas, everything had a perception of when that tree fell. But us actually hearing it is this universal law of relativity. It's all about observation. And when we look at some of the experiments that they have done on observation, observation and relativity make energy have a certain signature. And so our perception again of this signature is what actually gives it this relativity. So it's relative to us in how we perceive it. This is kind of a big one. But when we get further down into those laws of polarity and those laws of rhythm, it makes more sense, because there are certain things that are cyclical, such as the sun setting every single day and rising, just like the equinox, how it shifts, how it moves. These are these universal laws. The seed that is to be planted, that has this innate energy inside of it, when we plant it, we don't have to focus on it growing. We don't have to tell it to grow. We don't have to, it just has this energetic intelligence to turn into whatever its signature was. And so with the universal laws of relativity, polarity, what we look at is the cycles of things. Just as sure as that sun is going to set, it's also going to rise. Just as sure as that tide is going to go out, it's going to come in. We don't, oh, I love it. I love it. I love that, Chris. It's tuning in, like these seeds have planted. Yes. And it's inside of all of us. It's just a matter of understanding how it is that we see it, feel it. We always kind of think or get put into a box where it should be this way. And if it's not exactly that way, sometimes we get impatient, or sometimes we grow weary, and we stop watering it, or we stop even checking on it to see if it was growing. I feel like some of these seeds that I planted this year were probably like me just like standing there just flinging seeds out. It wasn't like really nurturing, making sure I was intentionally planting a lot of these seeds. And now in the fall, there's so much to kind of harvest. It's like, if I had actually really spent time on making sure that I had fed my tomato plants, I really wonder what they would have come out like this year. They probably wouldn't just be green and hiding in amongst my carrots and the other plants that have taken over back there. There's these ways of intentionally helping something to grow. And when we understand where we're putting our attention, where we're putting our focus, if it's just sort of randomly running around every day looking and seeing if any of those seeds sprouted, or seriously tending to a particular tomato plant or a particular area, we can see the nurturing that happens, the energy that's going into that, and the beautiful growth that can happen when we're staying focused on something. Now, the beautiful thing about these universal laws of polarity and rhythm is that they are happening anyway. So it's almost like we don't even have to worry about certain ones. If we spent all our time worrying about whether the sun was going to rise or not, we would really be in trouble, because we have enough to worry about. But the beautiful thing to understand is that where there is one, there is always the other. So where there is giving, there is receiving. Where there is sowing, there is reaping. And these are what these laws are truly meant to sort of help us to see, is that if we're putting in that intentionality, if we're putting in that aligned action, if we're understanding where our intention and our energy is going and paying conscious attention to that, there is almost no way that you can't get the opposite of it. Like, this is the way the laws work. It's simply made to be that way. It's us that need to be able to trust that. Just like the sun rises every day. If we just trusted that we were meant to do what we're doing, rather than questioning it every day, rather than looking for reasons that maybe we shouldn't be, rather than looking for all the other things that could distract us from it, if we really spent our time and energy focusing on what it is that we are ordering and waiting for it, it is going to happen. Those are truly the laws of the universe. That's exactly it, Kathy. Literally trusting the process, trusting the universal laws. And when we understand that they are that amazing, that they make the sunrise every day, they can probably keep us getting out of bed and keeping forward on our path if we would actually stop fighting it, right? Now, why do we fight it? Why do we even go there where we don't trust these universal laws? A lot of times we don't really fully understand them. We know we have to, do things that make us happy. But when we get that sort of little bit deeper understanding, that it's not just about doing things that make us happy, but it's actually about doing things that bring us up to a vibration of joy and happiness and freedom. When that's what our intention is, you can't not get more of that. You simply can't. When we are staying in our true choice, our affirmation of, Oh, if we thought every day, I just love the life I'm living. I just choose this life that I love. I just love my life. If we focused on that for just a few minutes a day, this is going to come. And this is sort of why we pick true choices. Not because of, if we were, we always talk about, having affirmations and choices and how do you know what you want? A lot of times we ask other people what we want. And what happens when we ask other people what we want is they tell us what works for them about what we want. Like, oh, like say I'm saying, I feel like I should move, what do you guys think? And it would be like, well, you should move here because then we'd be closer together, like I think that when my friends are like, I feel like I want to move, I'm like, ooh, move closer to here, or we don't mean to, but we think of, well, how this could really, this, I would love it if you moved, but then we're getting your energy, your opinion on that. It's not what do you think is best for me a lot of the times, unless you're asking them, from a completely unbiased point of view. Don't think of yourself as this. What do you think I should do? It's impossible for someone else to think about what someone else should do. We have this filter, right? Kind of like if we were to even ask someone, if I was their massage therapist and I said, I'm thinking of quitting massage, everybody would be like, don't do that. You don't want to quit massage. They're not thinking about me. They're thinking, it's just the way people are, right? So when we know what it is that we want, even if we don't need to know, I want to be coaching 1 million people by 2030. Like, we don't need to know that. We just want to know that we want that freedom of time, of energy. I want to be able to wake up in the morning and have, just my couple of clients, my few clients a day that I'm working with that I can give that energy to. That feels really good. I still have time for myself to take care of myself. So if I was thinking, oh, I want to streamline and I want to make a course where I'm going to teach every single massage therapist I know to become a conscious creator, and like that's a whole lot different than understanding that I just really want a few clients a day that I can work with, sort of one-on-one. And it can get so misconstrued, and when we are going for something that's not really in alignment with us, it'll end up stopping us from doing anything that we want. So just knowing, not the specifics, but very generally the feelings that we want to have. I just want to wake up and feel good. I just want to wake up and be able to have my coffee and go outside and ground myself. I just want to go pick my tomatoes. I just want to be able to play guitar for a little while, right? I just want to be able to create a song. I want us to think about going into the meditation, about these things that we really want to create for these next few months. We're coming into these last sort of months of the year. I want us to start thinking about the feelings that we really want to have, the fun that we want to start having, the things that we want to start doing more of. Really, I want you guys to ask yourself the question right now. What are you just ready for more of? I'm just I'm just like I just feel really ready for more of, like, being balanced, more of self-care, more of self-love, more of, I'm ready for more relationships that are just that feed my soul. And really, we don't need to know exactly what it is that's going to bring that, but if we can ask these universal laws, if we can ask the powers that be, that any energies up there that are helping us, our true self, if we can ask ourselves what we're really just truly ready for more of, we're already getting some of it. We're already getting, some good energy. I feel like energy is what almost everybody is feeling. I could just use some more energy. I could just use some more connection time with nature. I'm just ready for more of that. I'm just so ready for more of that. And so when we step into the meditation, you can think of what it is that you're just ready for more of, just because you want it, just because you love it. I'm just ready for more abundance, in just every way. And it doesn't have to be money. It's just that feeling of not being, abundance is so opposite of being in lack or being bottlenecked or constricted. And if we don't know what we want more of, take a look at the last week or two. and know what you don't want more of. And really think about that. Think about the things that have even kind of come back up in these retrogrades. What is it you really don't want more of? I find, especially with this whole career big thing going on, a lot of people have been almost reverting back to their times when they were, in their 20s, where it was like, I don't even care if I get paid crap. I just want to be around people right now. I just want to go, work at an office space where I'm around people. I just kind of want that right now. Now, when we are seeing these things with career, one of the things we do need to ask ourselves is, how does that feel when we really, I've just seen, it's really neat because I've seen a lot of people lately, like going to work at Starbucks, going to work at the gas station, just like, and they're, well-educated people, have degrees, could be doing psychology right now, but they're like, you know what? I just feel like working at Starbucks. I don't want any stress. I want to just go. I don't want to, and I think a lot of times too with coaching right now, it's tough because, um, there's coaching and there's teaching people and there's wanting to get the word out there. But then there's this whole crazy world of marketing yourself. And a lot of people, once they have to get out there and really start doing the whole marketing thing and being that, hey, I am your person, it just, for me, I felt like I would rather poke my eyeballs out with forks than be out there, smammering in anyone's DM box every day, like, hey, I want to come. I know I've asked you 15 times, but do you want coaching from me again? Like, no, that's not me. I resonate with having my Friday night groups, and the people that are here and the people that come into the field are the exact ones that I want to work with, and the exact ones that I am like so into keeping accountable, because it keeps that energy flowing. It keeps those universal laws going of, for me, being able to connect with so many beautiful energetic souls and see these rhythms and see the way these things are flowing, so that we all know that we're not just going through all this on our own, that we're not just crazy, that we're not, like, everybody's sort of on these really neat paths right now. So it's been beautiful to see unfold, but it's also been beautiful to keep things very in alignment and very eye-opening as to what is truly in your alignment. And what is in your alignment is what you want more of. And so when we're really focused on what that is that we want more of, it makes it easier to make that true choice and to make those affirmations. So I would like us to almost feel into what an affirmation would be for you going forward, that you can really sort of tell yourself every day. Like, a true choice is something that we make as, I am truly choosing to just stay in alignment with creating a life I love. Um, an affirmation is something that you can tell yourself to keep yourself going there, such as, things are expanding for me every single day. Or, I am growing healthier relationships every single day. Something along the lines of a positive self-talk affirmation onto something that you really are ready to shift. Even if it's just, I just want more time, I just want more energy. I am finding new ways to feed my body and soul every day. I am increasing my energy levels daily. And really saying this, feeling this, but then taking that aligned action and doing it, because that's where the universal laws really come into play. Once you take that aligned action, there is no stopping you. There's no stopping the energy flow to help you do this. You are simply collapsing all other energetic laws and placing it all within this law of attraction and vibration to bring you exactly what you want. So by putting in that aligned action, knowing, listening to your emotions, listening to yourself, when you know you are exhausted and you may just need to have a day of shutting it down, to actually allow yourself to take that. If it's something where you're telling yourself, I just simply can't look at, is it me telling myself this, or is it my old stories or my old patterns of having to always be there for everybody else that just doesn't allow me to say no to anyone? Is it serving myself? It's almost like choosing to be selfish enough to make those big decisions to take care of yourself properly, to make those big decisions to actually put that energy into yourself. It's amazingly difficult for us to do something that isn't something that we're really, really used to doing. So it still feels kind of new when we have to really look at how we really truly feel about things. I know I'm saying really a lot, but it's it's really, really important that we take a look at this, that we don't just ignore it, that we don't go, oh, I know, I know, but I can sleep when I'm dead, or blah blah blah. No, it's not funny, right? Because there's a part of us that's actually, a lot of times when we are kind of going, oh, haha, there is a part of us that's sort of happy that we're still just punishing ourselves, because that's where we are truly designed to be, in struggle. So pay attention to how you're even reacting to your own divine intervention of those universal laws telling you, hey, the balance here is a little bit off. You might want to adjust that before you wobble right off your little board there and fall down, because it's a whole lot harder to get up than it is to just stay on that board in the first place. So I would like us to, if you guys are okay with it, I'm just going to take us through a small meditation to be able to balance us out, to be able to set our intentions on what we are just truly ready for more of, what we are ready to, what if we were to actually commit the next few months to really tapping in, tuning in, turning on, knowing that radio station has always been there, that 101 mix, whatever it is, that's always been there, that we just haven't necessarily tuned into when we're really, really ready to listen to what the universe is saying to us. It's a beautiful way to just allow our spirits to be able to connect with our bodies and our minds and get us all dialed in, inner alignment, magnetic alignment, all across the board, universal laws, knowing how much we've given, and knowing that the receiving is there, believing, truly allowing that belief to happen, like really having faith in ourselves. It's not always an easy thing to do, but when we keep that point in our alignment, there's nothing that's going to be able to pull us off of there. So I want us to really dial in what we're ready for more of, and I'm going to just guide you guys through a nice little meditation to just literally allow this to all just kind of set in. So if you guys are ready, you can just assume the meditation position, which is, of course, just getting as comfortable as you possibly can. I do love it when we have our backs supported, because it does feel safe to the body as well, and it can allow us to be able to just embrace that energy. And I can feel everybody connecting already in the field here, so I might end up just doing a little energy work to just help anything move through. And I'd love for you to just be able to connect with your breath right now and just notice. You don't have to force it, just tune in. Maybe just breathe in and out of your nose for just a moment. In the nose and out the nose. And I want you to notice the temperature going in. It's a little bit cooler. Is it warmer coming out through your nose? Just paying attention. Does the breath feel heavy? Does it feel like your chest is full, like your belly's full, like you can't get air in right now? And I'd like you to just relax your shoulders, relax your eyes, and in through your nose, take a nice deep breath for about 4 seconds. And in the gap of that breath, I want you to just hold it for 2. And then breathe out through the mouth, almost like a straw, just cracking your lips and just breathing out. And in the gap of that breath, Hold it again for 2 seconds. Now breathing in through the nose, filling up the belly, filling up the chest, holding the breath for 2 at the top. And as you breathe out, just try and breathe out a little longer than you were breathing in. Just let all that air out, relaxing the shoulders, deflating the belly, and just keep going like that. Give it a couple seconds of just holding that gap in between the breaths is such a beautiful space. Hold that gap for just a couple of seconds in between each breath as you breathe in through the nose. Hold your breath for 2 at the top. And then release all the breath. And one more time, just hold that gap for 2 seconds in between. And now I want you to just go into breathing normally, just cyclically in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just notice the gap between the breaths as a beautiful space, just paying attention to it. You don't have to hold it anymore. And just let the breath turn into this rhythmic in and out. And just notice that you don't really have to try. Your body automatically breathes in after that long, beautiful breath out. And just notice how your body just urges and wants to just breathe in and allow every muscle in your body to relax as you breathe out, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your eyes, relaxing your scalp, your neck, your chest. Relaxing the muscles around the stomach and in the pelvis and the hips, just allowing your whole body to relax with every breath. And as you're breathing in, I want you to imagine that you're breathing in this white sparkly dust, almost as though you were in a snow globe and you were full of glitter. And as you breathe in, this glitter can come into your body. It's starting to kind of sprinkle upon your skin. You're noticing this glitter is falling from the sky, almost like it's just being poured and sprinkled on you. And it's just this beautiful light, this iridescent white glitter. And as it starts to touch your body in every way, it's almost like you feel it entering through your skin, like your skin is just drinking in this beautiful glitter. It's making your body feel like it's glowing. It's almost making your body feel like it's connecting with the energy around you, almost like your skin is disappearing and you're becoming one in space and time in this beautiful light energy form, and you're just turning into sparkles. And just allow your whole body to start to feel these sparkles just emanating through, in and out, infusing into every cell. And as it does, it's almost like it's starting to heal, starting to clean and clear and transmute any energies that are just ready to shift out of the body, not even needing to know what they are. I want you to imagine that you're standing on a beach, that your feet are just touching the sand, and it may be warm or cool, but I want you to imagine what your toes and your feet would feel like if they were grounded into the sand right now. Like you can feel the sand between your toes. You can feel the sand under every crease in the palm of your foot. You can feel the sand touching every single millimeter of your skin on your feet. And you notice down by your foot, there's these little rocks. I want you to pretend almost like you're a child, that you can reach down and you can pick up a little handful of these rocks, and feeling grounded in the sand, I want you to take these rocks in your hands. And I want you to think of all the beautiful intentions of things that you're ready for more of. And as you do, I want you to just have fun throwing these rocks into the water. The water is beautifully still, just like glass. And I want you to imagine taking these little rocks, and I want you to start giving them these beautiful energetic intentions. And I want you to whisper to the rock before you hurl it into the water to see what kind of ripples it's going to make. I want you to whisper to the rocks your beautiful true wishes and your beautiful intentions. Your intentions with your relationships, your intentions with yourself, your intentions, oh, I got tingles. Your intentions with your career, your intentions with your abundance, your attendance. I just want you to think about all of your intentions that you have. Are you going to show up every day? What are your intentions? What are you ready for more of? Just whisper to these rocks and start throwing them in and noticing the ripples that just come off of each one. I feel someone just whispered a whole bunch and threw the whole handful right in the water just to watch all those ripples flow and to see how those ripples work with each other and for each other and through each other. And pay attention to those ripples in the water right now and what they're doing. And I want you to notice right now that you're facing the direction of the north. And I want you to feel your toes just grounded in, feeling your feet grounded in the sand. And I'd love you to just put your arms out like you're just welcoming the power of the north. And I want you to embrace that north power, that power of healing, that power of inner knowing, that power of completion and fruition, that north where everything comes into this beautiful harvest, this beautiful end result. Thinking of the winters that are just gestational periods of all these seeds you've planted, of all these ideas, all these roots that have been growing. And think about how you're going to maintain these plants that you've started, how you're going to care for them, how you're going to really see them into that completion, how you're going to honor yourself. Physically, what is it that you need? Embrace this power from the north. Embrace all this energy. And just ask, what can I do to physically just feed my body, my soul, to align my body, mind, and spirit? Asking these questions is going to bring the answers, and just allow the north and the power of all of those beautiful cosmos, all of the stars, all the powers of the north, to just simply wash over you as you're grateful, as you thank all of the energies of the north. Just literally take a nice receptive breath in, choosing to receive that power and sending gratitude. Imagine in your mind that you're turning towards the east, turning to your right. The beautiful energy of the east, the fun of joy, the fun of play. How can you honor the lightness of the wind, the eastern energies, the magic in your life? Stand and open your hands, open your arms, and just envision that beautiful sun of the east rising as it always does, feeding you, feeding your soul. What are the ways that you can feed your soul? How can you be open to the new? What if someone asked you to go do something crazy today? Would you even entertain it? What kind of fun could you have if you just let yourself go? What about playing a game? I want you to think of all the fun things. Imagine even being a kid something that was really fun for you at any point. Maybe even as an adult, something that just sounds really fun. Maybe something you've always wanted to do and you never have. Embracing the energies of the East, ask, how can I embrace new, fun, happy freedom in my life? How can I play with the universe right now and be very grateful? Thank those powers of the East. The air, it's so beautiful. And now turning around and imagining the fire of the South, the power of the South. And open your hands, open your arms. Imagine yourself turning around and just facing the southern direction. And ask now for that beautiful energy of the South, all of the heat from the earth, all of the sun, that beautiful fire energy. How can that feed your relationships? How can you feed your relationships? How can you embrace love and acceptance in every relationship, especially with yourself? How can you deepen this love? And ask the universe, ask the powers of the South, how you can deepen those bonds of love with yourself. How could you increase that worthiness every day? How could you increase that love for yourself every day? Giving yourself what you really need. What is it that you really need? What is it that relationships mean to you? What is this new found energy that you are going to embrace in these next few months from this balanced state in your relationships? What are you just ready for? Peace and harmony, true love. And thank all those energies from the South and ask them to just show you all the ways that you can truly master loving yourself, putting yourself first for the greater good. Think of all the people you can help, all the things that you can do when you feel that love. And knowing that capacity of love that you have, feeling that law of polarity right now with the amount of love that you know you're able to create in life. Just embracing that feeling when you actually allow that feeling of love. We're just going to tag and treat anything and cleaning and clearing anything in the field there around that. And now I want you to face to the west, where we have the beautiful energy of intuition. Tapping in, trusting ourselves, that divine knowing, that reflection time, that quietening your mind, that going into that neutral state, having a morning ritual where you allow yourself to energetically get set up for the day, having that evening routine, that ritual where you reflect, where you spend a few minutes on yourself, noticing where you need support, noticing where you're feeling a little off, noticing where things aren't feeling good, and taking time to truly adjust that, knowing your intuition is right, just trusting the process. And now allowing all these energies from all directions to truly be empowering you. I want you to imagine that right now you are watching the sunset. You're facing that west direction, and the sun is literally setting on the water. You can see it, you can feel it, you can feel the power as you just gaze in and around the sun, and you can feel the sun's beautiful light just starting to soak into every cell of your body. And as that sun is setting, I want us to allow a small process to happen where we're going to bring some people around us. Now, these are people of the past and people of the present. We're just going to do a small energy healing where we allow ourselves to bring anyone in our field right now, to allow our family to join us as we watch this sunset. I want you to allow all of your family, all the past people that aren't around anymore, people that you may know, may not know, people that are directly related to you genetically or adoption, family, blood. There may be a lot that are just coming around right now. You may see faces, you may not. But I want us to just use this beautiful equinox energy to allow ourselves to let go, to forgive ourselves, to have small conversation with any of these people where we have traumas that aren't yet healed, where we have energies or conversations that still need to be had, so that we can shift into this energy in balance without being pulled. And I want you to look at the people that are around there and bring your parents. Your parents are there. Whether they're past or whether they're present. We're going to allow you to just have a very quick exchange with them, where you can now say, I'm very sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And thank you. And as you're able to say these small sentences to each of these people, you're going to notice that they simply fade away. You won't be able to see them anymore. That energetic exchange has happened. That energetic change has healed and happened. And any cords that are being still drawn to drain your energy are now being let go in the most beautiful and pure way. Standing in this divine space of what you are truly ready for. We are just going to allow any of these old stories, patterns, beliefs, and energetic draws that have been attached to us to simply be let go right now. So allow any more family members, grandparents, people that had unfinished business, perhaps you don't even know what it is. You're just going to look at them. You're going to allow the beautiful sunset to be right behind them as you look at them and say, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and thank you. And just allow this exchange to happen as they start to just disappear, brothers and sisters, our children. This energetic tie, we're just simply letting any of that old stuff go. Really. We're just letting any of that old stuff go. Cousins, uncles, aunts, any family members that are here right now that want to come forward to have this energetic exchange, they are also ready. And in the field, this is creating such healing. We're just simply letting go of these draws, letting go of these cords, cutting them, letting them just dissipate, letting them dissolve. And allowing any partners and partners' family to start showing up. Perhaps it's ex-partners, perhaps it's people we're still very connected to, Perhaps it's our partner's family. We're going to allow them to all come forward right now. And any of them that you see, you can say to a whole group, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And thank you. And just allow this energetic exchange to happen between any of your partner's family, your partners. Any of those old partnerships that we had, any relationships where we have been telling stories that, I can't have this because I had that. I've already had this. It'll never happen again. We're going to go into each of these relationships right now, past and present, and we're just going to allow ourselves to say to them, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And thank you. Even if you don't maybe want to fully forgive them, I want you to tell them this, and I want you to see what happens. They may even ask you for the same thing. They may ask for forgiveness. They may nod. They may not want to go anywhere. They may stay beside you watching the sunset. Sorry, my cat's driving me crazy. They just want to be there, and just notice the energy exchange as anyone else that comes up from family. And now just bringing around any friends even from school, from high school, kids maybe you were not as kind to, maybe kids who weren't as kind to you. We're going to allow this exchange to happen. Maybe feeling like you could have done more, maybe feeling like more should have been done for you. Go into your teachers, your mentors, the people who taught you. Anyone that's ready to come forward right now. I want you to just say to them, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And thank you. I'm bringing about anybody else now, any animals that are coming forward, any times where you're still hanging on to stories or things that are just simply ready to shift. Allow these people, they could be neighbors or friends or colleagues, co-workers, people that would have had big impact, anyone that we haven't mentioned yet. People you've had exchanges with, a waitress at a restaurant you weren't that kind to, anybody that you've just got this energetic draw where it's still draining you, you're still feeling bad. Forgive yourself right now and say to them, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And thank you. And maybe go back to those kids one last time, those kids that were in our lives, whether they're our kids, other kids, maybe we should have been a little gentler. Please have this conversation. And notice that the energy has floated into this beautiful, free feeling energy. If anyone is still standing around that fire with you, know that maybe there's more conversations that need to be had. But try one more time to just say to them, true from the heart, that you are sorry. Ask for forgiveness. Send them love. And thank them. And notice this balance. Notice this feeling of groundedness, this feeling of being anchored, as we just allow the sunset to set through our whole bodies, allow that beautiful solar energy. As we notice the sun going down further and further, we can feel that energetic shift in our body. As we truly embrace the wind, the water, noticing the ripples in the water from some of those stones that we threw are still flowing, like you can see them, like small rings. And I want you to notice the expansiveness of those rings as they keep going out further and further and further in the water. Allowing that beautiful healing energy of the sunset as it goes down and the darkness start to come in. I want you to feel what it feels like once that sun goes down. Do you notice a difference in the atmosphere, how it gets to be a little damp, how it gets to be a little bit dark, how you notice what does it smell like when the sun sets, when the moisture starts to climb in the air and you can feel that resonance, that dissonance, that difference. What does a sunset feel like? What does it sound like? The quietness of the frogs starting to come, the crickets perhaps. The sounds change once it becomes night. And notice the beauty of that nature, how we can trust that that is going to happen every single day. And so it is that we are manifesting these beautiful desires to change the world, to make it a better place. We're here for these exact reasons. And I want you to just choose more of that. And again, focus. Ask the universe, tell the universe what you are ready for more of. Are you ready for more freedom? Are you ready for more peace? Are you ready for more energy? Are you ready for more love? And I want you to just ask for one action that you can take today to just seal all this in. And just grounding all this into the matrix of the universe. When you guys are ready, you can simply take a nice deep breath, a nice grounding breath, a nice cleansing breath. And when you're ready, you can wiggle toes and fingers and come on back. And I'd love to just share a couple of rituals that you can do to help yourself balance through this autumn equinox with this beautiful, true balance that is here. There's no swinging either way. There's just knowing. You can use an altar where you can make a space where you can just put beautiful things that you want to manifest. You can use cinnamon, you can use herbs, you can use basil, you can just pluck things out of your garden. If you have an herb garden, you can use spices that you have in your spice drawer. You can use fruit, you can use coins, you can put ribbons, rocks, anything that's just beautiful to you, where you can set this wonderful intention. You can light a candle. If you want more love in your life, a beautiful way to do that is take a candle and you can just etch in with a toothpick or a pen a heart or relationships. You can put love. You can literally write anything into the top of the candle and then light it. And it's good to burn it down as much as you can. Like if you have a whole day to burn a candle, put your intentions. I just choose to have these beautiful, loving relationships. And literally draw a symbol or something like that with an intention in your candle and light it up. Let it burn down. You can use a bath where my body's releasing like crazy. I'm so sorry about that smash. My cat climbed on my massage table and knocked it right over as we were meditating there. I don't know if you guys probably didn't see, she decided to climb up on my shoulder and around my face as I was talking. It was ridiculous. It's really funny. They did that last week too. They were going nuts as soon as we were really in the field there. It was heavy. Animals are so funny. But using the bath. So I will take things like basil or marjoram. Those are beautiful herbs to use in a bath, and just kind of sprinkle the spices in. I use my essential oils more than anything. I use my black spruce essential oil because it's like a 533 vibration. So if I want to get right up there, that's what I was using before I started today. I just put a drop in my hands and just inhale it. I smell like Christmas trees still. It's beautiful, and it literally raises your vibration. You can feel it. Um, you can do a ritual with making food, like I mentioned, making a meal for somebody, with that love, putting that love into it. It's such a gorgeous thing to do and such a beautiful way to share your energy. And the way the universal laws work, the giving of just your love and your energy like that, just bring it back tenfold. It will literally equivocate what you're giving. So notice too, with that law of attraction, how much aligned action you are taking. You know, a lot of people think, well, I'm thinking about this all the time. I really want it. But we're not actually taking time during the day to make anything about it happen. We're just simply, putting it out there and kind of hoping that aligned action is sort of that key in those universal laws to ensure that we're on that right track, because otherwise those laws take over and the thoughts will disperse where the energy is going instead of the actual intention. So that's why it's so important to be so intentional about that. So yeah, I always like doing the cleansing thing. I talked a little bit about that with the full moons. Equinox seems a little bit replicable with the moons, but it's again all about that manifesting what you really want, those 4 times a year to really kind of settle into those seasonal changes, those beautiful universal laws that are happening every single day, whether we have the input or not. They are operating anyway, so we might as well play the game, know the rules, and really smash this game, right? So those are some rituals to kind of keep you guys in the experience tonight. I encourage drinking some water and having just having some time to be able to reflect a little bit, do a little bit of journaling. It was interesting. I wasn't going to bring in family and do that little healing, but it's interesting. All these people just kind of started joining us on the beach. So I figured we might as well have a conversation with them and be able to just let some of that stuff go, because there's things just draining that energy. And yeah, if we can keep that a little bit filled up by things that aren't even ours that are draining us, then hey, I think it was helpful. So, oh, thanks, Jessie. That's awesome. Oh, I love you guys to pieces. I am just going to stop the recording, and if anybody